Ashley here with hearthookhome.com, and today we are going to learn how to crochet the bead stitch. This stitch is really fun. It is definitely a yarn eater, but it creates these beautiful, they look almost like little tornadoes or little cyclones, just lining it along the way. And it's really cute, really gorgeous, adds a lot of pizzazz and texture to a piece. We're going to be using this in an upcoming pattern of mine, so I figured we'd better learn it today, right? So the bead stitch is really just a combination of a double crochet, and then you're wrapping your yarn around that double crochet several times to give it that poofy look. Each bead stitch is 2 stitches wide, so you're going to have your double crochet where you go into the first. The width of your bead stitch means that you're going to skip the next one before placing your next bead stitch. So when starting a bead stitch work, I personally like to start with a row of single crochet first to give us something to work into. So here I have I chained 11 and went back through so that I have 10 single crochets. So now we are ready to start our bead stitch row. For the bead stitch, I personally like to chain 3 and count that as a double crochet. So I'm going to chain 3. And I like to have, just to keep things clean, let's pull this back out again. I like to have a double crochet on one end and then a double crochet on the other end. It gives it more of an anchor on each side than just having the beads by themselves because they don't have a lot of stability by themselves. To actually start the bead stitch, we are going to chain 3. I'm going to turn so that I'm looking at my single crochets now. Since I'm going to count this as a DC, I'm not going to go into this first stitch right here. I'm going to place my first double crochet in the second chain, or the second stitch. So I'm going to place a double crochet right in that stitch right there. And now in order to complete the bead stitch, I am going to wrap my yarn around the actual post of this double crochet. So I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to pull up a loop around that post. So insert your hook, pull up a loop, and pull it right back up. So now you've got 3 loops on your hook. We're going to yarn over, we're going to do that again. Okay, so now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 loops on our hook. We're going to do that one more time. So you're going to do this a total of 3 times for each bead stitch. Pull up that loop. So now you should have a total of 7 loops on your hook. Okay? Now we're going to yarn over and we're going to pull through everything except for this last little guy over here. So pull through all 6 of these, and then you've got 2 left on your hook. To finish the bead stitch, you're just going to yarn over and pull through. And that's your bead stitch right there. So since the bead stitch itself is 2 stitches wide, we're going to skip this next stitch here and place another one in the next one. So we're going to yarn over and double crochet right into that, skip one, right into the next one. And now we're going to yarn over and wrap our yarn around this double crochet 3 times. So 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to yarn over and pull through 6 of those loops. Yarn over and pull through the last one. That's your second bead stitch made. So now we're going to skip the next one. We're going to place a double crochet in this next stitch here. And now I'm going to wrap my yarn around this double crochet 3 times. Yarn over, pull through all 6. Not the last one, and then pull through that. We've got room for 1 more bead stitch, so I'm going to skip one and go into the next with a double crochet to set that up. And now I'm going to yarn over and wrap around that double crochet post 3 times. Yarn over, pull through just the first 6. Now yarn over and pull through those 2. Now when you get to the end here, this last stitch right here, not the last one, but the second to last one is part of the width of this bead stitch. So you're going to skip that one too and just place a double crochet right in that last one. So now when we're done with that, what we've got is a beautiful little row of bead stitches. We've got what we're calling a double crochet with our chain 3 over here. Then we've got our 4 bead stitches and then our double crochet on the end over here. So now, in order to start another bead stitch row, we're going to place a row of single crochets in between your bead stitch rows. So I'm going to chain 1, then turn, and I'm just going to single crochet in each of these. So we started out with 10 single crochets on row 1. Row 2, we made our bead stitches. Row 3, we want to end up with 10 single crochets again so that we don't end up with an extra one or not enough on the next row. So we're going to count those out. I always like to count my rows in between. And this last one, since this is a chain 3 from the last row, your last single crochet is going to go into that top of that chain, right? A single crochet right in there. All right, so now we have our 3rd row of bead stitch swatch, and we are ready to start another row of bead stitches. So I'm going to chain my 3, which we are going to count as a double crochet, and turn. We're going to skip that very first one and we're going to put a double crochet in the second one. Now we're going to yarn over and wrap 3 times around that post. Yarn over, pull through 6, yarn over, close it off. Skip the next one, we're going to do double crochet in the next. Wrap it around that post 3 times. So 1, 2, 3, yarn over, pull through just 6, yarn over, pull through those 2. And that is all there is to the bead stitch. It's really kind of a fun project to work on, a fun stitch to crochet, because if you use your fingernail like I'm doing here, it kind of works a lot faster. You can kind of manipulate your hook a little bit faster. It is definitely a yarn eater, so if you're trying to stash bust, this would be an excellent stitch to add to a blanket or something like that that would really help use up that yarn. So I'm going to finish this row off and we will be done with our bead stitch tutorial. I hope you enjoyed this stitch and I look forward to creating more with you soon.